This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
You should know the FBI is heavily involved in this case now, especially as concerns these alleged ransom notes, right? And the ICAC also heavily involved in this case. Important because that's the International Crimes Against Children Task Force, but don't think of this as crimes against children. They do a lot with kidnapping and a lot with tracking kidnappers. So they were the ones that carried the ring light in and the iPhone tripod to help the Guthrie family record Savannah's statement on Instagram yesterday. Perhaps they also helped Cameron with his tonight. But the thing that the FBI said in the press conference today that was so interesting about kidnappings and ransom was that kidnappers typically are much quicker to the gate with the demands. And the communications don't usually just end with the initial request, right? The demands are typically discussed. There's typically communication. And this to the FBI today was unusual, which, for what it's worth, is what they have to go on at this point. And what they said was that absolutely zero contact has been made with the Guthrie family since the ransom note went to the media. So there's a couple of different ransom stories going on. You've probably heard several. I'm just going to be as clear as I can, as clear as the law enforcement authorities have been with us. There was one that went to TMZ via email. There was one that went to KOLD TV locally in Arizona by email. And there was one that went to KGUN, another local station in Arizona. It is thought, but not 100% clear from the authorities, that those three are all the same ones from the same source. But there's another one. Federal prosecutors have now charged a man in California, Derek Callela. I don't know if it's Callela, Callela. And they are accusing him of inserting himself into this case by sending what authorities say was a bogus ransom demand to Savannah Guthrie and her family directly. They say Derek Callela allegedly reached out directly to Nancy's daughter, Annie Guthrie, and her husband, Tommaso Cioni, asking whether, quote, the Bitcoin had been sent, end quote, and claiming that he was, quote, waiting for the transaction to go through, end quote. Let me just say, that is going to be very, very hard to defend. If someone had just sent a text and said, are you going to pay? That you could defend because it could be a question. I feel bad for you. Are you going to pay this? But no, that is very specific. Waiting for the transaction to go through. Federal agents say the message came through a voice-over internet system that can disguise phone numbers. Congratulations. Guess what? Court records say that the digital trail was able to connect the account back to a Google email. And you know who it allegedly belonged to? Derek Callela. So after being advised of his rights, prosecutors say that he admitted that he sent two messages. And the investigators say he told them he found the family's contact information online and had been closely following media coverage as the case unfolded. And according to the FBI, the messages were not the end of it. They say he also called the family directly. So if Derek Callela, or Calella, in fact did this, he's in for a world of hurt. Because the criminal complaint against him says he's facing 2 federal charges, allegedly transmitting communication containing a demand or a request for a ransom for the release of any kidnapped person, and also making a phone call without disclosing his identity with the intent to abuse, threaten, or harass a person. And I did a little quick research, very, very cursory research here. But under California statute, a defendant who uses the internet, again, that's cross state lines, right? To extort a crime victim during an investigation has a realistic exposure to somewhere between a range of 3 to 8 years in prison, federal prison. And that's the lower end, because it can actually go up to a potential of life as a maximum if aggravated witness intimidation and criminal threats like strike priors are in play. So on the low end, 3 to 8. I mean, what kind of parasite does this? What kind of parasite